The many uses of corn. Corn has thousands of uses. In fact, during your day we probably use or eat something that contains some form of corn. Corn is used in many foods such as cereals, popcorn, corn chips, and even pet food. Corn is also used as a sweetener in many foods. Health benefits of corn. Corn is rich in fiber and plant compounds that may aid digestive and eye health. In moderation, corn can be a part of a healthy diet. Reduces the risk of anemia. Corn is rich in vitamin B and iron, which helps in the production of red blood cells in the body, and it preserves healthy skin. Corn is most often thought of as a food. Perhaps if you're an avid cook, you might even think of cornstarch or corn-based food additives, or perhaps those who follow the oil and gas news might think of ethanol. However, recent years have seen this dinner staple's uses expand greatly. In fact, the bulk of corn that's produced today does not go to food production. You're probably using corn in ways that you don't even realize as you go about your daily business. The countless uses of corn have prompted some interest in corn as an investable asset, and prices have surged in recent years as demand has increased. How corn is used in plastic. Plastics aren't entirely made up of synthetic substances. In fact, corn-based plastics have become very popular in recent years as companies strive to find methods for reducing the environmental impact of plastics. Corn-based plastics use up to 68% less fossil fuels in production than traditional plastics, and are estimated to emit 55% less greenhouse gases. Additionally, many of these plastics are also biodegradable. You'll find corn plastics used in food containers and plastic food packaging, disposable dishware and gift cards. Yes, corn is in your batteries. Ethanol isn't the only form of energy derived from corn. Some batteries also contain corn derivatives found in the form of bioelectricity. In batteries, cornstarch is often used as an electrical conductor. It even makes you smell better. Cornstarch is a common ingredient in many cosmetic and hygiene items, including deodorants. Many natural or homemade deodorants include cornstarch as an ingredient because of its absorbent nature. However, many gel deodorants also contain a corn derivative in the form of denatured alcohol, also known as ethanol. Similarly, hand sanitizer also typically contains ethanol. Corn mordants. Corn syrup is one of the main ingredients in cough drops. It provides the sweetness that is found in most cough drops, and also helps provide the shape and candy-like texture of cough drops. Corn syrup is used in this capacity because traditional sugars often form crystals or dust-like particles while blending. Luckily, corn syrup doesn't share this undesirable trait in the manufacturing process. Where would babies be without corn? You can thank the absorbent nature of cornstarch for its assistance in the production of diapers. Though the absorbent layer found in modern-day diapers is typically made with acrylic acid, which is a component of ethylene, another derivative of corn, you will also find traditional cornstarch used in diaper production. Baby powder, an item which is often used along with diapers, also typically contains cornstarch thanks to its absorbent nature. Corn helps matches burn bright. Corn, and more specifically cornstarch, is a common ingredient used in the production of matchsticks. Additionally, matchsticks that are formed on paper or cardstock may include corn products in the paper itself to increase the rigidity. Additionally, you can also purchase pellet stoves that burn corn-based pellets to heat your home. Vast list of corn uses from crop to medication. Many medications and vitamins contain corn products, particularly cornstarch. The starch is often used as a binder or within the tablet's coating, and helps drugs to hold their form. Additionally, cornstarch is used as an agent that helps the tablets to disintegrate after they are ingested. Cornstarch is an appealing ingredient for these uses because it is a safe and natural product that's generally quite easily digested by humans. Corn is beneath our feet. Carpets and other textile products now make wide use of corn in their production. This is often found in petroleum-based textile production, but can also be found in colorings or dyes. Corn-based products are often preferable to petroleum-based products in textile production because they are typically better for the environment. Vitamin C. Corn. The vast majority of commercially distributed vitamin C is derived from corn. Corn is rich with vitamin C. Half a cup of corn contains roughly 33% of your suggested daily intake of vitamin C, which makes it an appealing source for adding vitamin C to enrich various products, or in the production of vitamin C tablets. Corn for crayons. Those colorful crayons that children play with can also attribute their form to the inclusion of corn-based derivatives. Dextrine, which is made from cornstarch, is used to assist with removing crayons easily from their molds. Corn products also help the paper labels to adhere to crayons. Yogurt and corn. Though perhaps you're not likely to see corn-flavored yogurt lining the grocery store shelves anytime soon, you may be surprised to learn that corn is an ingredient in many types of yogurt. You might find corn syrup used as a sweetener in yogurt, and cornstarch is often used to help get the right consistency in both yogurt and ice cream. Corn holds our world together. Glue and other adhesives commonly contain cornmeal or cornstarch. The adhesives used on envelopes include cornstarch, which becomes sticky once moistened. Additionally, corn germ, which is the leftover substance after the oil has been removed from corn, is used to increase the adhesive qualities of industrial glue. The use of corn germ allows many of these high-intensity glues to be less expensive, as corn germ replaces some of the resin that's typically used in fabrication. A sweet tooth for corn. You'll generally find corn used in candies and other confectionery items in two ways. First, corn syrup is often used as a sweetener in beverages, candies and other sweets. Also, candies that are formed in molds often contain cornstarch in order to get the fine details to hold their shape. Think of gummy candies that have fine details, like character shapes or imprinted logos. Additionally, corn products are used to give some types of candies a chewy texture. You'll find corn used in virtually any type of sweetened product. The bottom line: toothpaste, dish detergent, paper, clothing dyes, explosives and soaps. There is a vast list of products that contain corn products. In fact, it is estimated that 1/4 of items found in a grocery store contain corn in some form. You may not always see it on the ingredient listing for food products, but if you see such ingredients as xanthan gum, polyols, artificial sweeteners, or fructose, there's a chance corn is hiding away somewhere in those food items. Outside of foods, many petroleum-based production processes are now including corn products in an effort to make manufacturing more environmentally friendly. So, whether you're for it or against it, the wide range of uses for corn has expanded well beyond the usual suspects. In fact, it's become rather hard to imagine our world without this diverse and dependable staple. Different bird species. Birds are vertebrate animals that have feathers, wings, and beaks. Like all vertebrates, they have a bony skeleton. Most birds are able to fly, but some cannot fly even though they have wings. All birds reproduce by laying eggs with hard shells, and most build nests to help protect the eggs from weather and predators. Adult birds almost always sit on the eggs to keep them warm until they hatch. Arizona woodpecker. The Arizona woodpecker is the only species that is brown and white and not black and white. Atlantic puffin. Atlantic puffins inhabit rocky islands in the North Atlantic, circling the islands with rapid wing beats, diving up to 200 feet underwater to capture small fish. Alder flycatcher. The alder flycatcher is a small songbird with a slight crest, small bill, and compact body, which can appear to have no neck. Bald eagle. The bald eagle is not only the well-known symbol of the United States of America, but also one of the best-known success stories in the wildlife conservation. Belted kingfisher. The belted kingfisher is a relatively large bird with conspicuous habits. Its loud, dry rattling call may be heard round almost any suitable body of water in North America. Akeki. Akekis are small, yellow and green Hawaiian honeycreepers with short, blue bills and long, notched tails. Males are slightly more colorful than females. American white pelican. American white pelicans weigh about 16.4 pounds and measure over 5 feet in length, with a huge 9-foot wingspan. Pelicans are graceful flyers. They are tolerant of human observation at a respectful distance. Anna's hummingbird. Anna's hummingbirds spent most of their foraging time exploring for nectar from flowers. Females build their nest on horizontal twigs or branches 6 to 20 feet up in a deciduous tree in bushy areas. Birds can be found in all habitats above ground, and there are even some species that make nest in underground burrows. Most birds try to lay their eggs in places that predators will not be able to reach easily. 10 natural resources. Forest and timber. As the world gets more modern and population grows, there is more of a demand for housing and construction projects. This reduces open green spaces. Forests are necessary to preserve the ecology of the world that supports all the natural resources and life. Forests also play a critical role in providing clean air and the lumber that builds the homes. Soil. Another important natural resource is soil. Soil is composed of many different particles, and nutrients in the soil helps plants grow. Apart from this, soil can also be used to provide shelter. A pile of garbage along with some soil, when placed in the worm's compost bin, creates nutrient-rich soil that helps in growth of plants and makes them healthy. Iron. Iron is also in limited supply. It is made from elements such as silica, which then must be heated to create pig iron that industrialization depends on. Iron was the most important natural resource on Earth during ancient ages. It allowed people to build stronger weapons, better transportation and taller buildings. Both iron and steel are still used in modern-day industries. Other minerals like gypsum, bauxite, phosphate, bentonite, mica, titanium, zirconium is found in seabed along the coastal plains. Rare earth elements like scandium and terbium are two of the earth-powerful minerals that are used in wind turbines and electronic circuits in smartphones. Natural gas reserves are doing only slightly better than oil. Gas is a much cleaner fuel source than oil, which has led to an increased level of consumption of it as an alternative fuel, but it still stands to run out quickly. Phosphorus comes from phosphate rock and is used to grow all of our foods and crops. Unfortunately, phosphate rock is only found in 3 places on Earth: the US, China and Morocco. The projected lifespan of the current known resources is about 100 years. There has not been significant research in developing new and safe fertilizers that can be effective replacements for phosphorus. Oil. The general estimate is that with the projected rate of consumption of oil supplies and known resources, that there is enough to last for 30 to 40 more years. It takes millions of years for oil to be created. There is no way of speeding up that process. Coal. Coal is estimated to be able to last less than 200 more years. Coal is also the major source of air pollutant in the world, so there is much discussion about regulating its usage. The problem is it is one of cheapest sources of fuel for industrial applicants. Air. Clean air is necessary for the existence of life on this planet. It is essential for the existence of plants, animals and wildlife. It is important to reduce air pollution, as polluted air degrades the environment and can enter our body and can cause health-related problems. Water. While the Earth may be mostly water, only about 2/2 of it is fresh water. Of that 2.5%, even less is considered to be potable. Potable water is water that is considered to be safe to drink and cook with. You can swim in it, you can drink it, you can clean with it and many more. The butterfly life. The butterfly and moth develop through a process called metamorphosis. This is a Greek word that means transformation or change in shape. Insects have 2 common types of metamorphosis. Grasshoppers, crickets, dragonflies, and cockroaches have incomplete metamorphosis. The young, called a nymph, usually look like small adults but without the wings. Butterflies, moths, beetles, flies and bees have complete metamorphosis. The young, called a larva instead of a nymph, is very different from the adults. It also usually eats different types of food. There are 4 stages in the metamorphosis of butterflies and moths: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Eggs are laid on plants by the adult female butterfly. These plants will then become the food for the hatching caterpillars. Eggs can be laid from spring, summer or fall. This depends on the species of butterfly. Females lay a lot of eggs at once so that at least some of them survive. Butterfly eggs can be very small. The next stage is the larva. This is also called a caterpillar if the insect is a butterfly or a moth. The job of the caterpillar is to eat and eat and eat. As the caterpillar grows, it splits its skin and sheds it about 4 or 5 times. Food eaten at this time is stored and used later as an adult. Caterpillars can grow 100 times their size during this stage. For example, a monarch butterfly egg is the size of a pinhead, and the caterpillar that hatches from this tiny egg isn't much bigger, but it will grow up to 2 inches long in several weeks. When the caterpillar is full grown and stops eating, it becomes a pupa. The pupa of butterflies is also called a chrysalis. Depending on the species, the pupa may be suspended under a branch, hidden in leaves or buried underground. The pupa of many moths is protected inside a cocoon of silk. This stage can last from a few weeks, a month, or even longer. Some species have a pupal stage that lasts for 2 years. It may look like nothing is going on, but big changes are happening inside. Special cells that were present in the larva are now growing rapidly. They will become the legs, wings, eyes, and other parts of the adult butterfly. Many of the original larva cells will provide energy for these growing adult cells. The adult stage is what most people think of when they think of butterflies. They look very different from the larva. The caterpillar has a few tiny eyes, stubby legs, and eggs. This is important because caterpillars can't travel far. Most adult butterflies live only 1 or 2 weeks, but some species hibernate during the winter and may live several months. Butterfly basics. Lepidoptera butterflies and moths belong to a group of insects called Lepidoptera. Like all insects, butterflies and moths have a head, thorax, abdomen, 2 antennae, and 6 legs. There are many more species of moths than butterflies. Butterflies and skippers make up about 10% of the Lepidoptera order, while moths make up 90%. Moths and butterflies have 4 wings that are almost always covered by colored scales, and a coiled proboscis for drinking liquids such as flower nectar. Butterfly or moth. Butterflies are active during the day, while moths tend to be nocturnal. Butterflies tend to fold their wings vertically up over their backs. Moths tend to hold their wings in a tent-like fashion that hides the abdomen. Butterflies are typically larger and have more colorful patterns on their wings. Moths are typically smaller with drab-colored wings. Some moths have wingless adults and some primitive moths lack a proboscis. Moths have a frenulum, which is a wing coupling device that ensures the wings travel together during flight. Butterflies do not have this. Moths build a cocoon wrapped in a silk covering. A butterfly makes a chrysalis, which is hard and smooth with no silk covering. The antennae of butterflies have a swelling at their end. Moths have no such club, and instead are more feathered. Moth antennae tend to be leaf or feather-shaped parts of the butterfly. Head includes 2 clubbed antennae, 2 large eyes, and a long proboscis. Eyes allow excellent sight of a large spectrum of colors. Thorax, muscular area attaching the 6 legs and 4 wings. Abdomen, behind the thorax, a long tubular area of 11 segments housing the digestive system. Wings. Butterflies have 4 wings covered with scales, 2 on each side of the abdomen, the forewing, FW, and the hindwing, HW. The forewings are larger and longer. Hindwings are typically more rounded. Legs. 6 jointed legs with feet like clawed tarsi. They can taste with these feet. Antennae feature a club at the end and chemical receptors for smelling, also used for touching. Proboscis, a tubular feature for drinking and sipping, like a straw. When not in use, it is rolled up under their head. What is the lifespan of a butterfly? Different butterfly species have different lifespans, and actual survival rates depend on factors such as weather and predators. An average butterfly species has an adult life of 2 to 4 weeks, or less. Some live much longer, like the mourning cloak, which may live almost a year, and hibernate during winter. The last generation of monarchs each year lives through the winter at the end of their fall migration into Mexico, living a period of up to 7 months. Others overwinter in the adult stage. What do butterflies eat? Most adult butterflies drink nectar from flowers through their tongues. A smaller number of butterflies never visit flowers, but gaining sustenance from tree sap, rotting animal matter, and other organic material. Butterfly caterpillars almost always eat plant matter. Is the butterfly a pollinator? While the best-known pollinators may be honeybees and bumblebees, butterflies do their part to help with the pollination of plants and flowers, and ultimately seed and food production. Why are butterfly colors so important? As day-flying insects, butterflies are often brightly colored, as are some day-flying moths, to communicate with each other. Night-flying insects typically have dull coloration because bright colors are unimportant at night when they can't be seen. Another function of coloration is to help an insect find a potential mate. Colors advertise the species and sex of an individual. In species like the monarch, colors may also communicate distastefulness to predators such as birds. Through the process of mimicry, some butterflies escape predators by resembling bad-tasting species. Do butterflies migrate? Yes, some do, others do not. Monarch butterflies, Danaus plexippus, are known for their long-range 3,000-mile mass migration that brings millions of them north in the spring. and back to California and Mexico each winter. The American snout, Libethiana carinenta, is known to be migratory, and some years the migrations are so massive as to darken the sky. It migrates around Central and South Texas following late summer rains, seeking fresh growth on hackberry trees. More species also migrate, such as the cloudless sulphur, Gulf fritillary, painted lady, American lady, red admiral, common buckeye, and others. More butterfly facts. They love warm weather. They cannot fly if their body temperature is below about 85 degrees. Peru has more butterfly species than any other country, about 3,700. They shelter under leaves during rain or stormy weather, and at night. Scientific family classifications. Butterflies and moths with the same or similar characteristics are classified in groups called families. As an example, most of the largest butterflies in the world, many with tail-like projections on the hindwings, are placed together in the swallowtail family. Scientific name Papilionidae. Papilionidae, swallowtail butterflies, most species having prominent tails. Hesperiidae, skippers, relatively small, fast-flying species. Lycaenidae, blues, hairstreaks, and coppers. Colors and patterns of sexes often differ. Nymphalidae, brush-footed butterflies, contains many subfamilies. Pieridae, yellows and whites, with those predominant colors. Rhyodinidae, metalmarks, sometimes placed in the family Lycaenidae. 24 fun facts about butterflies. 1. Butterflies range in size from a tiny 1/8 inch to a huge almost 12 inches. 2. Butterflies can see red, green, and yellow. 3. Some people say that when the black bands on the woolly bear caterpillar are wide, a cold winter is coming. 4. The top butterfly flight speed is 12 miles per hour. Some moths can fly 25 miles per hour. 5. Monarch butterflies journey from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, a distance of about 2,000 miles, and return to the north again in the spring. 6. Butterflies cannot fly if their body temperature is less than 86 degrees. 7. Representations of butterflies are seen in Egyptian frescoes at Thebes, which are 3,500 years old. 8. Antarctica is the only continent on which no Lepidoptera have been found. 9. There are about 24,000 species of butterflies. The moths are even more numerous. About 140,000 species of them were counted all over the world. 10. The brimstone butterfly, Gonepteryx rhamni, has the longest lifetime of the adult butterflies, 9 to 10 months. 11. Some case moth caterpillars, Psychidae, build a case around themselves that they always carry with them. It is made of silk and pieces of plants or soil. 12. The caterpillars of some snout moths, Pyralididae, live in or on water plants. 13. The females of some moth species lack wings, all they can do to move is crawl. 14. The Morgan sphinx moth from Madagascar has a proboscis, tube mouth, that is 12 to 14 inches long to get the nectar from the bottom of a 12-inch deep orchid discovered by Charles Darwin. 15. Some moths never eat anything as adults because they don't have mouths. They must live on the energy they stored as caterpillars. 16. Many butterflies can taste with their feet to find out whether the leaf they sit on is good to lay eggs on to be their caterpillar's food or not. 17. There are more types of insects in one tropical rainforest tree than there are in the entire state of Vermont. 18. In 1958, entomologist W.G. E. Bruce published a list of arthropod references in the Bible. The most frequently named bugs from the Bible are locust, 24, moth, 11, grasshopper, 10, scorpion, 10, caterpillar, 9, and bee, 4. 19. People eat insects, called entomophagy, people eating bugs. It has been practiced for centuries throughout Africa, Australia, Asia, the Middle East, and North, Central and South America. Why? Because many bugs are both protein-rich and good sources of vitamins, minerals and fats. 20. You can eat bugs. Try the Eat a Bug Cookbook by David George Gordon. 10 Speed Press. Don't want to cook them yourself? A flavored sucker with a real edible cricket inside. 21. Many insects can carry 50 times their own body weight. This would be like an adult person lifting 2 heavy cars full of people. 22. There are over 1 million described species of insects. Some people estimate there are actually between 15 and 30 million species. 23. Most insects are beneficial to people because they eat other insects, pollinate crops, are food for other animals, make products we use, like honey and silk, or have medical uses. 24. Butterflies and insects have their skeletons on the outside of their bodies, called the exoskeleton. This protects the insect and keeps water inside their bodies so they don't dry out. Common butterfly species. It is estimated that there are about 20,000 species of butterflies in the world. They are found in every continent except Antarctica. In North America, there are 725 species, north of Mexico, with about 575 of these occurring regularly in the lower 48 states of the United States. Included on this website are some of the more common butterflies found in residential areas, nearby parks and gardens, and while hiking in the open spaces. Honeybees. The lifespan of a honeybee depends on various factors. Worker honeybees have a lifespan of only 6 weeks during honey production seasons, when they are extremely active foraging for food, storing nectar, feeding larvae and producing honey. However, the death of a generation of workers does not cause the entire colony to perish. The lifespan of a honeybee colony depends upon the survival of a variety of bees within it. If only the queen lives, for instance, a colony cannot survive, as she cannot produce honey or pollinate flowers on her own. A honeybee colony is an organized society of 3 adult castes: queens, workers and drones. Each caste has certain responsibilities to the preservation of their hive. Queens, who are responsible for producing and laying eggs, live for an average of 2 to 3 years, but have been known to live 5 years. Domesticated honeybee queens may die earlier, as beekeepers re-queen the hives frequently. A single queen lays thousands of eggs throughout her life. Queens produce unfertilized eggs that hatch into drones, or male honeybees. The main purpose of a drone is to mate with the queen, and their lifespan relates directly to this task. If a mature drone successfully mates with a queen, he will die soon after the mating flight. If he is unsuccessful in the mating flight, the drone will be ejected from his hive at the end of the active summer season and will eventually die of cold or starvation. Worker bees are the smallest members of the colony, but have the largest number of individuals. A hive can contain 20,000 to 80,000 workers. The lifespan of worker honeybees ranges from 5 to 7 weeks. The first few weeks of a worker's life are spent working within the hive, while the last weeks are spent foraging for food and gathering pollen or nectar. The lifespan of the honeybee is also determined by pollen consumption and protein abundance, as well as the honeybee's level of activity. Queens, who spend their lives laying eggs inside the hive, could live for several years. Workers who labor during busy seasons cannot survive as long. Mating. When a virgin queen flies to a site where thousands of male honeybees may be waiting, she mates with several males in flight. A male drone will mount the queen and insert his endophallus, ejaculating semen. After ejaculation, a male honeybee pulls away from the queen, though his endophallus is ripped from his body, remaining attached to the newly fertilized queen. The next male honeybee to mate with the queen will remove the previous endophallus and eventually lose his own after ejaculation. Male honeybees are only able to mate 7 to 10 times during a mating flight, and after mating, a drone dies quickly, as his abdomen rips open when his endophallus is removed. Even drones that survive the mating flight are ejected from their nests, as they have served their sole purpose by mating. Virgin queens mate early in their lives and only attend one mating flight. After several matings during this flight, a queen stores up to 100 million sperm within her oviducts. However, only 5 to 6 million are stored within the queen's spermatheca. The queen uses only a few of these sperm at a time in order to fertilize eggs throughout her life. If a queen runs out of sperm in her lifetime, new generations of queens will mate and produce their own colonies. Honeybee queens control the sex of their offspring. As eggs pass through the ovary into the oviduct, a queen can determine whether a particular egg is fertilized or not. Unfertilized eggs become drone honeybees, while fertilized eggs develop into female workers and queens. Female workers do not mate, but they can lay infertile eggs, which in turn become male honeybees. Queens lay their eggs in structural oval-shaped cells, which stick to the nest ceiling. Worker honeybees fill these cells with royal jelly to prevent larvae from falling. Soon-to-be workers are fed royal jelly during the first 2 days, while future queens are given royal jelly throughout the entire larval period. The development of each member of a colony differs depending on caste. Male honeybees need 24 days for proper growth from eggs to adult, while workers need 21 days and queens require only 16. Characteristics: honeybees, although one of the most popular bees, represent only a small percent of these species. Honeybees are the only surviving group of bees from the Apini tribe, which is under the Apis genus. They are known for producing and storing honey, or liquefied sugar, as well as building impressively large nests using wax secreted by workers in a particular colony. The honeybee is one member of the insect class Insecta. These insects are members of the subfamily Apini, which produce and store liquefied sugar, otherwise known as honey. Appearance: honeybees measure about 15 millimeters long and are light brown in color. Honeybees are usually oval-shaped creatures with golden yellow colors and brown bands. Although the body color of honeybees varies between species and some honeybees have predominantly black bodies, almost all honeybees have varying dark to light striations. These light and dark stripes serve a purpose for the survival of the honeybee. Unlike other species that hide when they sense predators close by, the brightly colored bodies of the honeybee act as a warning to predators or honey robbers of the honeybee's ability to sting. Anatomy: the body of the honeybee is segmented: stinger, legs, antenna, 3 segments of thorax and 6 visible segments of abdomen. The head of the honeybee consists of the eyes, antennae and feeding structures. The eyes include the compound eye and the simple eye. The compound eye helps bees understand color, light and directional information from the sun's UV rays, while the function of the simple eye, also called oshi, helps in determining the amount of light present. The antenna's function is to smell and detect odors and to measure flight speed. The mandible is the bee's jaw, which is used in eating pollen, cutting and shaping wax, feeding larvae and the queen, cleaning the hive, grooming and fighting. The thorax of the bee consists of the wings, legs and the muscles that control their movement. The forewing, which is typically larger than the hind wing, is used for flight and as a cooling mechanism, while the latter is used to fan away heat and cool the hive. Lastly, the abdomen's 6 segments include female reproductive organs in the queen, male reproductive organs in the drone and the stinger in both workers and queen. Behavior: in the wild, honeybee hives are often located in the holes of trees and on rock crevices. The hive is made from wax from the special abdominal glands of worker honeybees. Workers sweep up a few flakes of wax from their abdomens and chew these flakes until the wax becomes soft. Workers then mold the wax and use it in making cells to form the hive. Unlike other bee species, honeybees do not hibernate during cold periods. Instead, they remain inside the nests huddled closely together, sharing body heat and feeding on stored food supplies. Honeybees are social creatures and live in colonies. However, they do display some aggressive behavior within colonies. Drones are ejected from their nests during cold weather, and a queen will sometimes sting other queens during mating fights for dominance. Although honeybees serve a significant role in pollination and ecology, measures should be taken to ensure that hives do not exist in close proximity to your home, due to the possibility of getting stung. Always contact a pest control professional before attempting to address an infestation. The colony and responsibilities: like some other bee species, honeybees are social and live in colonies numbering in the thousands. 3 types of adult honeybees reside in one colony: the queen, male drones and infertile female workers. In each colony, There is only one egg-laying queen, but there are thousands of workers. The queen honeybees mate with drones, establish new colonies, and lay eggs. Queen bees lay eggs in the cells of the nest, and when they hatch, they become larvae. Each colony contains only one queen, who is capable of producing 2,000 eggs a day. Adult workers tend the larvae inside the cells and feed them with pollen and honey for approximately 3 weeks, at which point they become adults. Mature bees chew themselves out of the sealed cells to emerge. Drones, or male bees, are the minority in a colony and serve only one purpose: to mate with virgin honeybee queens. Soon after mating, drones die. Although infertile worker females usually do not produce their own eggs nor establish new colonies, they perform several important tasks. Young honeybee workers tend to larvae by secreting liquid from their abdominal glands. As workers mature, they become responsible for carrying and storing food gathered by foragers. As strong adults, they forage for food until they die. Distribution. Honeybee species are found worldwide and can be seen in many different locations, including Europe and the United States. They are most visible in summer and late spring, when new queens leave their old colonies along with thousands of workers to build new nests. At this time, large groups of bees can be seen swarming together to find a new nesting place. It takes a swarm approximately 24 hours to locate a new nesting site. While most swarms are harmless, certain species of bees are extremely aggressive and may attack unprovoked. Because honeybees are found worldwide, their nature and behavior can vary. For instance, while Italian honeybees are usually more docile, German and African honeybees can display extremely defensive behavior. However, all honeybees can become defensive when provoked and can chase humans or animals hundreds of feet. Pollination. For millions of years, honeybees have been major pollinators of flowers and, therefore, the plants producing the flowers have relied on the bees. The goal of the plant is reproduction. The bees help accomplish this by unwittingly transferring pollen, a plant's male sperm cells, from one flower to another. Without pollination, many plants would not be able to procreate and eventually would die out. Humans benefit from this relationship through crop and honey production. Many of the crops people consume are pollinated by honeybees. Many growers maintain honeybee colonies for this very reason. Without pollination, the plants would not produce fruits and vegetables. Besides pollination, honeybees extract nectar along with the pollen from the flowers. The nectar is transported back to the nest where, through a process, it is converted into honey. Honeybee dance. There are two major theories on how honeybee foragers communicate with other workers about a new food source: the honeybee dance and the odor plume. Although there is evidence to support each claim, the honeybee dance is more widely accepted. The dance language combines dancing and odor as a bee's means of communication, while the odor plume theory claims that honeybee recruitment relies solely on floral odor. The honeybee dance plays an important role in the survival of the species. It has been a part of colonies for years and has remained one of the most important methods used in foraging for food. The honeybee dance is a way for bees to communicate with one another. A honeybee that discovers a new food source will tell other honeybees about its location through the honeybee dance. When a worker bee returns from an abundant food source, she will dance inside their nest in a circle. There are two main types of honeybee dances: round dance and waggle dance. Round dance, as the name indicates, is a movement in a circle. This is used to indicate the food source is less than 50 meters from the nest. Waggle dance is a figure-8 pattern while the bee waggles its abdomen and is used for food located at a distance of more than 150 meters. Exact distance can be communicated by duration of the dance. A longer dance indicates a great distance. The dancing worker bee also can indicate direction with a waggle dance and will move in reference to the sun's vertical position. The degrees to the right or left of the vertical indicate the direction of the food. For example, if the bee's dance is rotated 30 degrees to the vertical, then the food will be found at a 30-degree angle from the nest related to the sun's vertical. This language is also understandable by humans, and researchers determine effectiveness by measuring the amount and quality of new pollen and nectar brought into the nest. However, certain features of this dance language, including the fact that honeybees understand dance patterns even in the dark, are still not understood. Queen bee. Although the honeybee queen is thought by many to be the most important member of her colony, honeybee workers sometimes determine when their colony is in need of a new queen. This occurs due to space constrictions, poor performance associated with age, and the unexpected death of the queen. Because the queen is capable of producing up to 2,000 eggs each day, space within a hive can become constrained. A swarm results, wherein the mature queen leaves the colony with half of her workers to establish a new colony. The other half of her workers remain with a new queen and continue to perform their tasks within the old colony. Alternately, as queen honeybees age, their egg-laying abilities decrease, and they lay their eggs in less organized patterns. When an old queen begins to falter in performing such responsibilities, workers will induce her replacement, or supersedure. The aging queen is killed after the supersedure process. Lastly, when a honeybee queen suddenly dies, an urgent and unplanned supersedure occurs. Worker honeybees identify several larvae within the proper age range and begin to condition these larvae to become queens. The sole difference between a honeybee worker and a queen is in nourishment received during the maturation process. Workers feed prospective queens with royal jelly for their entire lives, while worker bees are fed royal jelly only during the first 2 days of their larval stage. Each colony can be ruled by only one queen at a time. When a virgin queen emerges, she locates other virgin queens and eliminates them one at a time. In the event that 2 virgin honeybee queens emerge simultaneously, they fight each other to the death. Queens control their workers by releasing pheromones known as the queen scent. After the new queen masters the hive, she attends a mating flight at a drone congregation site, where thousands of males wait. Drones discern a queen's presence through her smell, but they will locate a queen by sight. Drones and queens mate in midair, and drones die soon after giving their sperm to the queen. Queens mate with several drones in each mating flight, storing the drone's sperm in her spermatheca. The honeybee queen mates at an early age and usually attends only one mating flight, because her sperm reserves allow her to lay millions of eggs throughout her lifetime. Although a queen can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day during active seasons, the amount and pace at which a queen lays her eggs is greatly controlled by weather, food availability, and the particular habits of her subspecies of honeybee. The queen's fertilized eggs become female workers or future honeybee queens. The queen's unfertilized eggs develop into male honeybees, or drones. Nut and peanut allergy. What are peanut and tree nut allergies? Peanuts are among the most common allergy-causing foods, and they often find their way into things you wouldn't expect. Take chili, for example. It may be thickened with ground peanuts. Peanuts aren't actually a true nut, they're a legume, in the same family as peas and lentils, but the proteins in peanuts are similar in structure to those in tree nuts. For this reason, people who are allergic to peanuts can also be allergic to tree nuts, such as almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, hazelnuts, macadamia nuts, pistachios, pecans, and cashews. Sometimes people outgrow some food allergies over time, like milk, egg, soy, and wheat allergies, but peanut and tree nut allergies are lifelong in many people. What happens with a tree nut or peanut allergy? When someone has a nut allergy, the body's immune system, which normally fights infections, overreacts to proteins in the nut. If the person eats something that contains the nut, the body thinks these proteins are harmful invaders and responds by working very hard to fight off the invader. This causes an allergic reaction. Even a small amount of peanut or tree nut protein can set off a reaction. But allergic reactions from breathing in small particles of nuts or peanuts are rare. That's because the food usually needs to be eaten to cause a reaction. Most foods with peanuts in them don't allow enough of the protein to escape into the air to cause a reaction. And just the smell of foods containing peanuts won't cause one because the scent doesn't contain the protein. What are the signs and symptoms of a nut allergy? When someone with a peanut or tree nut allergy has something with nuts in it, the body releases chemicals like histamine. This can cause symptoms such as wheezing, trouble breathing, coughing, sneezing, hoarseness, throat tightness, stomachache, vomiting, diarrhea, itchy, watery, or swollen eyes. Hives, swelling, a drop in blood pressure, dizziness or fainting, anxiety or a feeling something bad is happening. Reactions to foods, like peanuts and tree nuts, can be different. It all depends on the person, and sometimes the same person can react differently at different times. How is an allergic reaction treated? A nut allergy sometimes can cause a severe reaction called anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis might start with some of the same symptoms as a less severe reaction, but can quickly get worse. The person may have trouble breathing or pass out. More than one part of the body might be involved. If it isn't treated, anaphylaxis can be life-threatening. If your child has a peanut or tree nut allergy, or any kind of serious food allergy, the doctor will want him or her to carry an epinephrine autoinjector in case of an emergency. An epinephrine autoinjector is a prescription medicine that comes in a small, easy-to-carry container. It's easy to use. Your doctor will show you how. Kids who are old enough can be taught how to give themselves the injection. If they carry the epinephrine, it should be nearby, not left in a locker or in the nurse's office. Wherever your child is, caregivers should always know where the epinephrine is, have easy access to it, and know how to give the shot. Staff at your child's school should know about the allergy and have an action plan in place. Your child's medicines should be accessible at all times. Every second counts in an allergic reaction. If your child starts having serious allergic symptoms, like swelling of the mouth or throat or difficulty breathing, give the epinephrine autoinjector right away. Also give it right away if the symptoms involve two different parts of the body, like hives with vomiting. Then call 911 and take your child to the emergency room. Your child needs to be under medical supervision because even if the worst seems to have passed, a second wave of serious symptoms can happen. Living with peanut or tree nut allergy. If allergy skin testing shows that your child has a peanut or tree nut allergy, an allergist will provide guidelines on what to do. The best way to prevent a reaction is to avoid peanuts and tree nuts. Avoiding these nuts means more than just not eating them. It also means not eating any foods that might contain tree nuts or peanuts as ingredients. The best way to be sure a food is nut-free is to read the food label. Manufacturers of foods sold in the United States must state on their labels whether the foods contain peanuts or tree nuts. Check the ingredients list first. After checking the ingredients list, look on the label for phrases like these: may contain tree nuts, produced on shared equipment with tree nuts or peanuts. Although these foods might not use nut ingredients, the warnings are there to let people know they might contain traces of nuts. That can happen through cross-contamination, when nuts get into a food product because it is made or served in a place that uses nuts in other foods. Manufacturers are not required to list peanuts or tree nuts on the label when there might be accidental cross-contamination, but many do. Some of the highest risk foods for people with peanut or tree nut allergy include cookies and baked goods. Even if baked goods don't contain nut ingredients, they might have come in contact with peanut or tree nuts through cross-contamination. Unless you know exactly what went into a food and where it was made, it's safest to avoid store-bought or bakery cookies and other baked goods. Candy. Candies made by small bakeries or manufacturers, or homemade candies, may contain nuts as a hidden ingredient. The safest plan is to eat only candies made by major manufacturers whose labels show they are safe. Ice cream. Unfortunately, cross-contamination is common in ice cream parlors because of shared scoops. It's also a possibility in soft-serve ice cream, custard, water ice, and yogurt shops because the same dispensing machines and utensils are often used for lots of different flavors. Instead, do as you would for candy. Buy tubs of ice cream at the supermarket and be sure they're made by a large manufacturer and the labels indicate they're safe. Asian, African, and other cuisine. African and Asian, especially Thai, Chinese, and Indian, foods often contain peanuts or tree nuts. Mexican and Mediterranean foods may also use nuts, so the risk of cross-contamination is high with these foods. Sources. Many cooks use peanuts or peanut butter to thicken chili and other sauces. Always be cautious. Even if your child has eaten a food in the past, manufacturers sometimes change their processes. For example, switching suppliers to a company that uses shared equipment with nuts. And two foods that seem the same might have differences in their manufacturing. Because ingredients can change, it's important to read the label every time, even if the food was safe in the past. What else should I know? To help reduce contact with nut allergens and the possibility of reactions in someone with a peanut or tree nut allergy. If you keep peanuts and nuts in your home, watch for cross-contamination that can happen with utensils and cookware. For example, make sure the knife you use to make peanut butter sandwiches is not used in preparing food for a child with a nut allergy, and that nut breads are not toasted in the same toaster as other breads. Don't serve cooked foods you didn't make yourself, or anything with an unknown list of ingredients. Tell everyone who handles the food your child eats, from waiters and waitresses to the cafeteria staff at school, about the allergy. If the manager or owner of a restaurant is uncomfortable about your request for peanut or nut-free food preparation, don't eat there. Consider making your child's school lunches, as well as snacks and treats to take to parties, playdates, sleepovers, school events, and other outings. Work with the childcare supervisor or school principal to make sure the food allergy emergency action plan provided by your allergist is followed correctly. Keep epinephrine accessible at all times, not in the glove compartment of your car, but with you. Seconds count during an anaphylaxis episode. A little preparation and prevention can help make sure that your child's allergy doesn't get in the way of a happy, healthy everyday life. 5 ways to prepare for an allergy emergency. Quick action will help if your child has a serious allergic reaction, anaphylaxis. It's a good idea to occasionally review the instructions your doctor gave you about treating allergic reactions and run through the steps you would take in an emergency. Here's a checklist for any parent of a child with a serious allergy. 1. If your doctor prescribed epinephrine auto-injectors for emergencies, make sure 2 of them are always with your child or with an adult who is caring for your child, at school, at a birthday party, on vacation. Always have 2 epinephrine auto-injectors with you, in case one doesn't work or you need a second dose. Talk with the school about where they store epinephrine auto-injectors and how your child can get them quickly, if needed. 2. Review the allergy action plan your doctor gave you and know the signs of an anaphylactic reaction, such as trouble breathing, rash, swelling, repeated vomiting, loss of consciousness, and wheezing, and be ready to act quickly. Use the epinephrine auto-injector if your child has one severe symptom, such as trouble breathing, or 2 or more mild to severe symptoms, such as hives plus vomiting. Follow the instructions the doctor gave you. Teach your child and those who care for your child to do the same. 3. Practice how to use the epinephrine auto-injector often. Are there caps to remove or twist? Which end rests on the skin? Where on the body do you give the injection? How do you hold the injector? Ask for a demonstration at your doctor's office. Visit the manufacturer's website to get detailed instructions. Some manufacturers also may supply a trainer injector that has no epinephrine in it, so you can practice all the steps safely. As your child gets older, make sure they practice too. 4. If your child has a serious reaction, use the auto-injector right away. Have someone call 911 while you give the injection. If no one else is with you and your child, give the injection first and then call 911 to take your child to the nearest emergency room. Take the used epinephrine injector to the hospital with you. During an anaphylactic reaction, your child may have a second wave of symptoms and may need a second dose of epinephrine. Always have 2 epinephrine auto-injectors available at all times. Remember that antihistamines do not treat life-threatening symptoms and are not a replacement for epinephrine. 5. Store the auto-injectors according to the manufacturer's directions. Don't leave them in the car or anywhere else where they might get too hot or too cold. Temperature can affect how well epinephrine works. Always know when your epinephrine auto-injectors expire and get new ones before they do. What is anaphylaxis? Anaphylaxis is a severe allergic reaction that can be life-threatening. Things that can cause allergic reactions are called allergens. Anaphylaxis, an aphylaxis, most often happens during allergic reactions to foods, insect stings, medicines. Latex anaphylaxis can be scary, but being prepared will help you treat a reaction quickly. What are the signs and symptoms of anaphylaxis? Severe allergic reactions can cause trouble breathing, throat tightness or feeling like the throat or airways are closing, hoarseness or trouble speaking, wheezing or cough, nasal stuffiness, nausea, belly pain, vomiting, and/or diarrhea, trouble swallowing or drooling, low blood pressure, skin itching, redness or swelling, hives, a feeling like something bad is about to happen, passing out. Anaphylaxis can cause different symptoms at different times. An allergic reaction is considered anaphylaxis if someone has any severe symptoms, such as trouble breathing, repeated vomiting, passing out, or throat tightness, or two or more mild symptoms, such as hives and vomiting or coughing and swelling. A person with symptoms of anaphylaxis needs treatment right away. How is anaphylaxis treated? Someone with anaphylaxis needs help right away. The reaction can get worse very quickly. Doctors usually want people with severe allergies to carry epinephrine auto-injectors. The medicine epinephrine enters the bloodstream and works quickly against serious allergy symptoms. The injectors should always be with a child who has severe allergies, including at school, sports, jobs, and other activities. The auto-injectors are small and easy to use. If the doctor prescribes epinephrine auto-injectors for your child, they will show you how to use them. 2 auto-injectors should always be with your child in case one injector does not work or your child needs a second dose. The doctor also might instruct you to give your child antihistamines in certain cases, but always treat a serious reaction with epinephrine. Never use antihistamines instead of epinephrine in serious reactions. What should I do if my child has a serious reaction? Time matters during anaphylaxis. If your child shows signs of a serious allergic reaction, 1. Give the epinephrine auto-injector right away. If you are alone with your child, give this medicine first, then call 911. If someone is with you, have the person call 911 while you give the epinephrine. 2. Lay your child down with legs raised while you wait for the ambulance. 3. Go to the emergency room. Even if symptoms improve after epinephrine, your child must be under medical supervision for several hours. This is because a second wave of serious symptoms, called a biphasic reaction, can happen. Your child can get more treatment at the emergency room, if needed. What else should I know? Serious allergies can be scary. To help keep your child safe, help your child avoid allergens. Always have 2 epinephrine auto-injectors with your child. Tell any caregivers, teachers, or coaches about your child's allergy and be sure they know what to do in an emergency. Check that your child's auto-injectors have not expired and don't get too hot or too cold. Have your child wear a medical ID bracelet so others know about your child's allergies and know to use the epinephrine auto-injectors in case of an emergency.